These are your superpowers, positive character strengths. You have them, all of them, some more than others.
What we are best suited to do in our lives connects with who we are and our character strengths.
Standing up strong, activating your superpowers is how you can change the world.
And you're pioneering the future of humanity.
Let's start right now. I'm Jackie Congedo, and on this episode, you're going to meet Julie Dellecave. Julie teaches 6th grade here in Cincinnati at Winton Hills Academy and brought her class to the Holocaust and Humanities Center for a tour that specifically focused on the stories of Upstanders. And of course, in the museum, we emphasize that Upstanders are people who use their character strengths to stand up for themselves and others in the face of injustice. What makes Julie's class special is how her students took the information from that tour and actually created their own books to share what they learned. It is so amazing to be with all of you this morning, to hear about your incredible work and these beautiful books that you've put together. I want to introduce Julie Dellecave, Ms. Dellecave, who is a 6th grade teacher at Winton Hills. And you guys are coming to us live from Winton Hills, right? From your classroom?
Yes.
So, Ms. Dellecave, can you just tell me a little bit first about how you got introduced to the Holocaust and Humanities Center and where this idea came from?
Well, we've been talking a lot in class about character strengths in books and novels we've been reading in class. And we were presented actually with the opportunity from one of your volunteers at the center.
Barbara McCucha.
Yes, and she used to work here at the school. And her mother actually was part of the history of the Holocaust when she was a young girl. And she came and spoke to the class about her mother's experience. And we just kind of kept rolling with it. We read a little bit of Number of the Stars. We had a lot of class discussions about it. And then we eventually came to the actual museum. We did actually watch a couple clips from, or did we watch the whole movie, Boy in the Striped Pajamas?
Oh, yes.
Just to make sure they had a background of the history of it. But we used it as a platform to teach character strengths and what it means to have integrity, to do the right thing with just little things in your life every day, to stand up when you see something that's wrong and being able to go home and sleep that night, knowing that you've been a good person, and that if we all just try in those little ways to be good, decent people, it's going to make the whole world a better place. If we can all just do that little bit every day of just doing our part to make things better for other people.
And that's the ripple effect is what we call it. You know, here it's this idea that you do your one part and then there's ripples that go out from there. And who knows who's been inspired by your one part to do their part, right? And so I'm thinking about how much character strength is on this screen right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of diverse character strengths, but I want to talk a little bit with you guys. McKenzie, Stefan, Rayvon, Javiana, and Lamia, all 6th graders in your class, Ms. Dellecave. And I want to hear from you guys. What was this like? I mean, you all were introduced to this history. Had you heard about the Holocaust before? Did you know about it before you started talking about it with Ms. Dellecave? No. And I mean, when you came to the center for your field trip and as you're reading and sort of learning more about it, what struck you? I mean, what affected you as you were learning about the history and this idea of being an upstander?
I saw like a lot of tragic things that happened in the Holocaust about with the Jewish and stuff, and what happened when they went to that camp. It was just like very tragic, and it just made me sad and everything. And it was so like heart feeling. So I just like, it was like really touching to me. So I was really interested in learning more about history and the Holocaust.
Yeah. And clearly you took all of these lessons from it because you all made these beautiful, powerful books from your experience at the center, from learning about what it is to be an upstander. Could somebody tell me what it is to be an upstander? I'm just wondering. I didn't tell you there's going to be a pop quiz, but I just want to see if anybody knows.
Well, I think an upstander is someone who stands up for anyone or stands up for things that is the right thing to do.
You got it. So, tell me about this idea to make these books. What do you think about that project? I mean, how did you guys like being involved with building these books? And tell me a little bit more about how that went, how that came to be.
I feel like when we wrote the book and when she asked us who wanted to write it, when we were at the Holocaust Museum, I was like real sad, and I felt like someone would have to speak their mind about what they thought about the Holocaust and what happened. And when we got the opportunity to do the book, I was really excited because I felt like it was our time to speak about what we felt happened in the Holocaust.
Wow. And, the idea that this is history, right? This is something that happened back then, but what your books talk about is what we can do today, what's happening right now, and how we treat each other. And I want to talk a little bit more about the books. So there's 2 of them, and I have read and watched, because you all did you didn't just write them, you actually narrated them and illustrated them, and they're so beautiful. So one is about My Kind.
One night as I lay awake in bed, I was thinking about how different I am from everyone else. All my family and friends think differently than me. They also like things that I don't. We don't always get along. We also look different. I wanted to find people that are just like me. I wanted to find my kind.
And I think it's the folks in the back row who wrote My Kind and worked on that, McKenzie, Stefan, and Rayvon. Can you guys tell me a little bit about My Kind and how you came up with this idea for this book and what it's about?
The book is really about Tom going around the world and trying to find his kind. But then at the end of the book, he realizes that his kind is all around him. Everybody like you in some sort of way, in their own special way.
Wow. And for folks who are listening and watching who have not read or watched these books, we are showing some clips of them, but you can see the whole thing in the links in the show notes. So want to direct you there to watch them. They are so powerful. So yeah, I watched this, and it's this, as you so beautifully said, it's this young boy who's looking for someone like him. And he doesn't realize that actually there are people all around who are kind, good people who look like him inside. And that, we can all be that force for good. We can all be those upstanders if we band together and we see ourselves in each other. I'm wondering, when you think about that story and the compassion, that you use to tell that story, how does that story relate to sort of your life and your world and how you think about and feel about what we should all do to treat each other? Yeah.
I feel like that the book, how it kind of relates to me is kind of like, sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who's like at school, like thinking like, oh, nobody's gonna like me like that, and nobody's gonna think, oh, she's kind of cool, whatever. When it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is you being you, and you are you. Everything about you makes you special, and how you are you.
Wow. Yeah, you beautifully said. You got to have a good, strong sense of who you are, and you got to be able to. We talk about that a lot. I have a 3-year-old, and she talks about how you got to give yourself a hug sometimes. You gotta take care of you. That's great, and it is in this book. McKenzie, anything you want to share about sort of your character strengths? What
I think my character strength is just accepting everybody as who they are, because somebody may seem weird to somebody, but in reality they're just misunderstood, because you may just glance at somebody and think, oh, they're just a weirdo, but deep inside they could be a good person that one day you'll see on the news, or just be a celebrity or something, and you'll just be like, oh, they weren't a weirdo after long. Because you just have to actually look at somebody and not just glance at them and judge them by their. You have to not to judge a book by its cover. You have to actually go in depth into into their character or into their heart, and you have to think, oh, maybe they're not a weirdo, maybe they're just somebody who's misunderstood, and just think, oh, maybe I was wrong, maybe I need to look deep inside of a person next time instead of just glancing at them and judging them.
All right. Well, I'm McKenzie for President 2024, I think, because she's got it down. She knows the secret sauce to how to treat people with the right humanity and to see the humanity in people. That's awesome. Let's move to the front row and talk a little bit about this other book. The second book is called Humans.
Human. My name is Human. I was created by a mother and father and cells full of life.
My soul was born from all that is good, but also all that is bad. Let me explain.
Javiana or Lamia, do either of you want to tell me a little bit about what that book is about and how you thought to do this one?
When I first wrote this book, it was about humanity. We titled the book Humanity for a reason, because we think that it doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter, like deep inside, everybody has a heart. Everybody has a kind heart. Everybody has some peace in their heart. Like, we all matter.
Beautifully said. And I'm thinking about in this book, the main character is just a human, right? Who doesn't have a name, who's talking about how people can be really mean to each other. But really, if we are aware of what you just said, which is that we all are connected in our humanity, we're all the same inside, and we all have something to add, then we can see that humanity in each other, and we can stand up for what's right, and we can have a more cohesive and peaceful world. Anything else that anybody else wants to add about writing these amazing books that are going to inspire everybody who reads them? Yes.
Okay, so when Ms. Dellecave asked, like Lamia said, I felt really happy because when we were at the Holocaust Museum, all the tragic events that happened, and us being able to get to research that, get to learn about that, was a really great experience, because not all people get to learn about that and get to write about it at that. So it was a really amazing event and stuff. It was really sad at the same time though, because we had to write about humanity, we had to write about the Holocaust, made us remember. And our books made us really remember who we are deep down inside. We're not really bad people. We all have a soft spot for something, and we all can find peace deep down in our hearts.
Oh my gosh. Well, Ms. Dellecave, now I know why you love your job so much, because you get to be surrounded with these amazing upstanders all the time who are so prophetic. I mean, did you write these scripts for them? Because it feels like they are just... It's incredible. You're doing amazing work, all of you. Ms. Dellecave, before we wrap up, can you tell me just a little bit more about what you've seen in your students as a result of sort of this work with character strengths, learning the history? How do they absorb it? And we talk a lot in this podcast about the science of strengths and how it can really help us in our day-to-day lives. Maybe talk a little bit about that in terms of how you've seen it impact your kids day-to-day.
My whole overall goal of this, there was a saying, I think it was a person named Marcus Garvey, maybe, who there was a famous quote of his, a man without knowledge of his past is like a tree without roots. And the Holocaust and other horrific events in history, for Americans, that is a part of all of our history. Even though it's something that may have just happened to one certain group of people, it affects all of us as Americans and citizens of the world. That it's important that we know this history so that we can understand what happened, define why, even though it's hard to understand the concept of how some of these horrible things have happened. But we can look at it and understand that we can't let this kind of stuff happen again. And that's why we need to be upstanders and not bystanders and stand by. We talked about this when we talk about bullying as well, that You can't just be a bystander. If you're scared to jump in and say, hey, that's not right, then at least go tell somebody who is capable of standing up and saying, hey, that's not right. You have to stop this. So that we put a stop to this kind of really cruelty that goes on in our world, and misunderstanding others, and this lack of compassion, I think, toward others. So these kids are doing a great job.
It's
The
remarkable.
world's going to be a better place. The world's a better place because they're
no doubt.
So.
McKenzie, you had your hand up.
I just wanted to add something to how humanity is misunderstood. They're like our neighborhood where terrorists understood because of all the violence that happens out here. When it's like some people aren't that bad out here. Like some people are just trying to survive out here, but people keep on throwing bad names on like where we live. When it's really that they need to like stop and just think like, oh, maybe there's some people who maybe feel upset that their neighborhood is being misunderstood. Like back in segregation, how blacks were separated from whites, when all the black people wanted was just to feel like they were united with the white people, and how we are all pretty much the same person, kind of, but we're all like different in our own ways. And now we should really just change our thinking, change how we look at some people, like somebody who's been misunderstood their whole lives and really just needs to change for the better.
That's a lot of wisdom. That is a lot of wisdom right there. And I think actually, McKenzie, that probably your superpower, your superhero strengths that you have of empathy, of love, of kindness, I bet you that was forged from your experiences in the world, right? You know, growing up where you grew up and seeing what you saw and watching how people would talk about where you came from. I think that instilled in you a drive to make sure that, you know, things are better and that people aren't so misunderstood. And I can see that in how you think about, you know, what we need to do better. I think I have an idea for why you don't have bullying in that classroom. And it's because you've got an amazing group of upstanders, including your teacher, who are leading the way for how to treat each other, yourselves, and other people. So thank you so much, Mrs. Dellecave, your amazing sixth graders who are changing the world there in Winton Hills. And McKenzie, Stefan, Rayvon, Javiana, Lamia, my day is so much better because I got to spend it with you. So keep doing what you're doing. Everybody who's listening needs to watch these books. They are phenomenal, guaranteed to change your perspective and make you feel more positive about the future, because this is the future right here and it's so bright. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Life depends on love and kindness, because without it, there wouldn't be a world. Right now, take your brothers and your sisters' hands and stand with them in love and repeat after me. My name is Human.
Our thanks to the Marison Family Foundation and the VIA Institute on Character for supporting this series. We have a link in the show notes so you can take your own free character strengths survey and learn more about your strengths. We'd love to hear about your experiences with character strengths and how you're using them to stand up. You can reach us anytime by email, and you can listen anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or visit holocaustandhumanity.org/podcast. You can also connect with us on Instagram and TikTok at Holocaust and Humanity, and X and Facebook at CincyHHC. The Upstander Ripple Effect is a production of the Nancy and David Wolf Holocaust and Humanity Center. This series is part of the Cynthia and Harold Gutman Family Center for Storytelling. Visit us in person at Historic Union Terminal in Cincinnati, Ohio, or online at holocaustandhumanity.org. Executive producers are David Wise and Jackie Congedo. Managing producer is Ann Thompson. Consulting producer is Joyce Kamen. Technical producer is Robert Mills. Technical director is Josh Emerson. Opening sequence is by Ken Furman. Select music is by Kik Lee. And this is recorded at Technical Consulting Partner Studios in Cincinnati, Ohio.